Hey everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the world of pop culture and personal development. I am your host, Jennifer Snook, and today we are skipping our regular format and going for more of a pop culture potluck. For those of you who may be here for the first time and don't know who I am a 51-year-old mother of three who grew up in Gilroy, California, in a middle-class domestic war zone. As a family, we presented really well, but on the inside, shit was insane. My dad did drugs, and my mom did nothing but fight him, about his drug use. It was violent, it was terrifying, and I swore my whole life that I would never live like that. I hated drugs. I used to talk mad shit about people that did drugs. I thought they were weak and stupid, and I honestly looked down my nose at anyone that did them. Until I accidentally became a balls-to-the-wall opiate addict for about 6 years. It was horrible. I was embarrassed and embarrassing. I completely sicked out on myself, and I eventually became exactly what I always said that I wouldn't be, my dad. And I ended up going to rehab. I came out of rehab. While I was in there, they put me on Suboxone, which was absolute hell. I weaned myself off of that stuff. But that internal ache that had always been there, that pain, wasn't gone. It was still there. And it got to the point where I was ready to throw in the towel. I mean, I was literally planning my own suicide. And just before I gave up completely, I was somehow magically and gracefully gifted the greatest gift of my life. I had what some people call an awakening, but I prefer to call it a spiritual orgasm. And it was the greatest experience of my life, and it still makes me emotional because I know that without it, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here today, because what happened as a result of that was that my spirit expanded. I at my lowest point put down my ego, and for the first time in my life asked something bigger than myself for help. And I had always looked at people that asked something or someone else for help as weak. And God knows I wanted to be anything but weak. And asking for help in my mind and in my spirit was exhibiting weakness. So I never asked for help. I was just fine. I just got through it. That's just what we did. But I finally, one day at my lowest point, after I had planned on how I was to, end my life, I looked up at the sky and I said, if there's help out there to be had, this is me asking for it. And it was literally, you guys, I'm not shitting you. It was hardly days after that. I mean, within hours and days, my spirit started expanding and my spirit started shifting and my perspective started elevating and my understanding of the world and the way it worked. Just suddenly I was able to see and understand. I was literally having visions of the interconnectedness of all things on the earth and how everything is so beautifully in a rhythm, in a natural rhythm, and it created something in me that I had only ever dreamed of. My whole life, all I ever wanted to feel was a sense of inner peace. And finally, at this most dramatic precipice of my life, I was being gifted the keys to the kingdom, and it allowed me to look at the world in a way that I never dreamed that I would be seeing it. And it changed everything. It literally, it changed everything for me. It was the absolute greatest experience of my life. I found my peace. I found my purpose. My whole life changed. And the hole that I had been wrestling with my entire life was suddenly, instead of, full of longing and aching, it was now full of grace and gratitude and this deep appreciation for every single step of my struggle. Like, it's like even my addiction, and not just my addiction, but like especially my addiction, and what it taught me about forgiveness and what it taught me about grace. And it changed everything. It changed the way I saw myself. For the first time in my life, I felt self-love. I had only ever heard about self-love. I would read books about it and I would be like, oh, that sounds nice. But for the very first time, I fell in love with myself. And once I fell in love with myself, once I saw myself at my essence, it changed everything for me. And I only wanted to be kind to myself, and I only wanted to be good to myself. And suddenly I was loving myself, and the pain that I had carried my entire fucking life was gone. Like, all of it. It felt, I would sit in the window and look out and think, is this really happening right now? Like everything, on a cellular, I went from longing for something else to loving every single bit of my life. Loving the people in my life, loving the process of my life, loving the pain, even the pain that taught me the lessons that I needed to learn to get to this point. It made me so profoundly grateful for every single me. It taught me about my own strength and my own resilience, and how the power of perspective, the power of presence, and the power of staying rooted in love so that you don't get caught and lost in the mental. And that is how I live my life, and how I've lived my life for the last 12 years. And it has been the most liberating, joyful, wonderful experience. I've said it a million times. I would walk every single painful step of the first 40 years of my life to live life for even a week on this side of the glory, because I remember when I used to live on the other side, and I used to think there has to be more to life than this. And lo and behold, I was fucking right, and there is. And that is a testament to following your intuition and following your gut. And if you feel like there is more to your life, and that life must be better than the way you're living it, trust that and lean into that, because I promise you there is, and getting here is worth every single painful fucking step that you need to take. I promise you that is the truth. Okay, so anyway, sorry, that ended up being a lot longer than I expected it to be. But so you have that part of me, but I also am a girl that just loves pop culture. And in my former life, I used pop culture so much as an escape. But it's different now, because now I look at them through a lens of personal development, and I'm able to see what they're doing wrong, because I used to do so much of the same. And then you marry that with the fact that, given my upbringing, I think it's probably a result of my upbringing, I've always been insanely insightful and just kind of had a knack for seeing inside people's souls. So what we do here is just kind of dive deep into the human psyche and talk shit about pop culture and the way that the human psyche shows up on our TV screens and reality TV. I mean, generally speaking, of course. So that's that. And so I guess if you didn't know, now you know. And if you guys have any other questions, you can always email me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. I do a Q&A towards the end of every episode, and send in your questions and we might just read your... Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Here is what's happening in my world. So right before I started recording, I literally had to stop crying because I could not stop. I mean, I couldn't stop crying over these Jason Kelsey retirement videos. Have you seen them? They're all over. They're on TikTok, IG, they're everywhere. But I'm telling you, they are so... I don't know what's wrong with me. I just sat there sobbing. I mean, Taylor and Travis are cute. I really do think they're cute, but Jason and Kylie are it's just adorable. And I mean, I'm sitting there watching a freaking video montage of his life and football and family and all of that goodness, and it's set to a Taylor Swift song, and I just sat there sobbing thinking, what in the fuck is happening to me? I'm a fucking Niner fan. I'm not even supposed to like the Kelseys. Let's see. Okay, I'll tell you what else I am absolutely obsessed with right now. I am fascinated by these artist videos on TikTok. Have you seen them, you guys, where there will be just like a pencil will appear and they'll show you how to, like, I don't know, sketch an eyeball, and they make it look so easy. And you guys, I am obsessed with them because the thought that I could ever actually draw something that looks like an eyeball, if I'm given the assignment to draw something that looks like an eyeball, and I actually one day can draw something that looks like an eyeball instead of, I don't know, an alien or a landing spaceship, I mean, that would be a miracle for me. Because, you guys, in these videos, have you seen them? They are amazing. Today I saw one, there was a hand. It's like, and this one was like, draw a hand in 3 simple steps. And they start with like 4 random lines. And I'm like, where are we going? But then, lo and behold, 3 steps later, it looks like a hand model. Not even like a hand. It was unbelievable. Anyway, I am looking forward to the day. I can't even tell you how many screenshots I have of them so I can know exactly where to go to find them. My whole camera roll right now is just screenshots of things that I need to get to. But I need to get to this because I need to learn how to draw this shit, you guys. I am, as it stands now, the worst drawer possibly on the planet. My kids, I'm telling you, one of our most go-to games, most hilarious go-to games is we will all draw pictures. Everyone gets their own sketch pad and pencil. We put drawing ideas into the hat, and then someone picks it out. And whatever is drawn, we all have to draw. It could be a duck. It could be a cowboy riding a sword. Mine, I always reveal mine last because my kids can freaking draw. My kids, like everything they draw, it's fucking incredible. Mine, I can't draw anything, you guys. It's so embarrassing. Truthfully, we were in Vegas one time at my daughter's softball tournament. And my ex-husband, who was my ex-husband at the time, but we were all staying in the same suite. My ex-husband had gone down to gamble, and he saw security coming up as he was going down to gamble, and they came to our room to tell us to shut up because they thought we were having some ruckus party. But really, it was just my kids laughing at my drawings because they're that bad. They are literally that hideous. It's that bad, you guys. It's, oh my God. It's even, some people get them, like, the way there's, what is that dog contest? The fancy one where they all go by, whatever it's called. That's going to make me crazy. Should we ask Siri? Hold on. Hey Siri, what's the name of the fancy dog contest? Westminster, you guys. Westminster. Okay. The way there's Westminster And then they have that ugly dog, the world's ugliest dog. And you know what that dog looks like? Well, I hate to say it, but that is precisely what my drawings look like. And it is sad and pathetic. But when I watch these videos, you guys, I'm telling you, they make it look so accessible. Like, anyone can be an artist, thank you very much. But I don't know. I just know that I need a weekend. I need a weekend with like a little sketch pad and a couple pencils. And who knows? I may come out the latest and greatest art. I mean, I may even take lessons because things change, right? I mean, people are constantly changing. I mean, taste buds change. I actually could never sing harmonies. I always did theater my whole life. I was always singing, but I could never sing harmonies until one day I was super sick. I was in like a lupus flare that was really bad, and I could literally feel the swelling in my brain, and I knew that I probably should be in the hospital. This is the craziest story. But when I came out of that, I could suddenly sing harmonies like I was Karen fucking Carpenter. It was unbelievable. So, I mean, shit changes, and that's just the truth. I try and tell my mom all the time. She thinks that she can't sing, but she's been thinking the same thing since she was 5 years old. Like, she doesn't realize that she's not the same person that she was when she was 5 years old, and her siblings told her that she couldn't sing. Every time she goes to sing, my mom loves singing, but she never sings because when she was 5 years old, her siblings made fun of her, and so that was the identity she created around singing. And you know that when you think that's what you are, then that's basically what you are. So in my mom's mind, she's a shitty singer, but I tell you, I promise you, she is not. Okay, get this, you guys. Also, right before I was crying about Jason Kelsey's retirement, I was talking to my daughter. And she's like, "What are you doing tonight, Mom?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to record the pod." And I asked her, I said, "Have you listened to the last couple?" And she goes, "Oh, well, you know, I usually only listen to the first few minutes because I don't really..." Can you guys hear my co-star? I'm sorry, I should have introduced him earlier, but I thought he was asleep. My dear little Albie, my little puppy Albie. Just as I was setting up the equipment for the pod tonight, he was really on a rampage. I thought he was going to be sitting here chatting with us, but he fell asleep just before I hit record, and now he is having a nightmare. My little guy, he is the cutest. So anyway, let's see. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Carly, my Carly. I was talking to her tonight, and she goes, "Mom, I only listen to Here's What's Happening in My World." In our normal episodes, we have the first part is Here's What's Happening in My World, where I catch everybody up, and she only listens to that part, you guys. And I gave her shit about it. But she came back at me with a reasonable argument. She goes, "Mom, you talk about the reality shows that I don't watch." So, I mean, you know, I get it. What am I supposed to say to that? She did, however, go on to say that her and her bestie, who is just another, like probably my sixth or seventh daughter. I mean, truthfully, I only have 3, but I have a few adopted. Taylor, that if I start watching Love is Blind, that they want to come on and do a full recap. So it looks like this weekend I will be doing a deep dive into the world of Love is Blind. Okay, everybody, it's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned because when we come back, we're diving deep into the world of reality. And we are back. Well, I just wanted to say that, I mean, just before we were about to go on, I read the most heartbreaking news, which was that this is fucked up. So sad. Garrison Brown, the son of Janelle and Cody Brown, from Sister Wives was found dead today, apparently by suicide. And my God, my heart goes out to all of them. Janelle, I know, oh, she loved that boy, you guys. That show, when I was my former judgmental self, because I used to be such a judgmental cunt, but when I was that judgmental cunt, I would not even watch that show. But kind of as I grew, I even remember thinking to myself when I used to watch that show, like, they kind of made me open my eyes to the fact that I used to think life was so linear and that everyone was supposed to live my way. And I had so much judgment against them at first. And then I got to just see their humanity. And it was one of those, they were one of those touchstones for me that really kind of helped. I know it's crazy, but it's true. It just kind of helped me with acceptance, because I could see there was nothing to not like about them. They were good, wonderful, kind-hearted people. There was, just because they were different to me didn't mean that I had to, think poorly of them. But that Garrison, truthfully, honest to God, he was always my favorite. Garrison was. What a heart of gold that kid had. I'm so sorry for his pain. Must have been just so immense. And God bless the entire Brown family. I wish you all nothing but love and healing and togetherness. And, they've all been so fractured for so long. And I feel like Garrison was such an empath. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't want to say something out of term, but I'm sure to those kids it kind of felt like nothing was going to bring their family back together, that it would take like something huge. And I just hope that Garrison didn't think that his life would be huge enough to reunite his family, even though it would. I mean, how can you not come together in a time like this? And I don't know. This breaks my fucking heart. Oh my God. Okay, it's time to pivot to something more positive. Did you guys see the debut of JLo's new project? This is me now. Okay, did you? And did you like it? Did you love it? Did you think it was ridiculous? I watched it. I was very excited to see it. I had honestly no idea of what I was to be expecting. But I have to say that I really related to it. I mean, as you heard at the beginning of the pod, I went through a real personal transformation that changed the way I looked at myself, the way I saw myself, the way I looked at life, the way I interacted with it, and it really it was a transformative experience that allowed me to see the essence of myself instead of who I thought I was supposed to be. It allowed me to align myself with my truth and with the light and with life's rhythms and harmonies and just look at life as the beautiful experience that it is meant to be. And I think that JLo had a very similar experience. It's funny, I think we had kind of very similar upbringings. We were both Jennies from the block. And I feel like I get her, and I get the way she looks at life and the way she looked at life, and I can kind of see the way our progression kind of tracks, and how the relationships that have come into our lives have kind of allowed us to peel back the curtains of who we really are, and allowed us to see the truth of our own essence and our own strength. And that when you get to that point, it's like she says, and she's completely right, when you get to that point, something changes because your vibration changes. And when your vibration changes, your whole world shifts, quite frankly. And everything that you receive is because you are ready to receive it, right? Like, life doesn't give you what isn't meant for you. And when you are not ready to receive better, and when you will keep receiving more of the same. It's only when you pay enough attention and really dive in and learn those lessons that you peel away, the facade, and you can see life for what it's meant to be, and how truthfully, I say this all the time, but staying rooted in love is what it's all about. Because when you're rooted in love, you can't get lost in fear, right? Because it constantly tethers you back to the truth. So, anyway, so I know JLo is, I know there's mixed reviews on her expression, but I get how important it is to her. And I feel the same way. Like, I very much feel that way about my own awakening, my own spiritual orgasm. I mean, ever since I had it, it's almost like one of those things, you guys, like once it happens to you, it's like somebody tells you the truth, and like you just want to let the world in on the truth because you want them all to experience the same kind of personal freedom that you're feeling at this point. So I get it, and I track on it. And when she met little Jenny, I cried, and I sat there thinking, here I am crying at JLo's thing, but I was, because I had a very similar experience where I had to go back, and still sometimes I have to hug my smaller self and remind myself of everything that we've been through and everything that it took to get here. And it's important to when you need to stay in touch with her, that when things get rough, remember that she maybe just needs a little reminder, because I very much turned a corner in my personal development. And I always say it was like I was lifted up and like given a boost so I could see over the fence into what life is really supposed to look like. And never in 12 years have I has that ever faltered. I have just reveled in that faith and in the beauty of that faith ever since it happened to me. But it's funny, since my dad died, I have had to hug my younger self a few times, because losing a parent is really primal, and if anything can tug at your most primal self, that is it. Anyway, and then not only did JLo have the This Is Me Now, she then followed it up with The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which was basically the making of This Is Me Now and the inspiration for that. And she really kind of beautifully articulates everything that I'm talking about, and the journey of personal growth and everything that comes with that. The director of This Is Me Now was Dave Meyers, who is just the most brilliant, incredible, insightful guy. Dave is so wonderful. He actually directed my daughter in her first commercial for Lowe's, when I think, God, it's probably been 12 years ago. And it was nice. When his face popped up, I'm like, hey, I know that guy. And Ben appeared, you saw real Ben Affleck, not the character that he was playing in the second, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. And Ben talks about how, he just kind of has a different perspective than Jen does, but how he has kind of, that's what growth is. And that's what growth within a partnership is that you kind of understand that you don't always have to be on exactly the same page, that you can save space and give grace to your partner for where they are, because we can't all expect to be on the same page every fucking single day, right? It's just outside the realm of possibility. So that was great. I'm all here for the Jen and Ben of it all. I love all of it. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about traitors, you guys. I mean, ta-dum. I honestly did not think, that these type of shows have been on for a long time now, right? Like Big Brother and stuff like this, like it's all psychological warfare. And I haven't historically liked them, but this Traitors is completely turning me around. I absolutely love it. I'm fully hooked. Phaedra is officially banished, and now Kate is the only traitor left standing. And I am just fucking dying to know what is going to happen next. I mean, I'm so excited. So apparently they just filmed the reunion, and I am just living for next week. Speaking of Kate's, Princess Kate, as in Catherine, has been spotted for the first time since her abdominal surgery. And honestly, I mean, I don't know what's going on over there. It does seem a little weird. And I just kind of feel like if the royal family knew then what they know now, that so soon after the Queen's passing, that the King was going to come down with cancer. Come down with cancer. I sound like my mom. It came down with a heart attack. That the King was going to be diagnosed with cancer, and that Kate was going to be, laid up with this recovery from this abdominal surgery for so long, that they would have been more open and amiable to keeping Harry and Meghan on as part-time royals, just like they asked to be. I mean, maybe things didn't have to be so black and white. I mean, a suitable shade of gray would have worked for everyone involved. Okay, so now moving on to Tom and Ariana and the big lawsuit that went down this week. The lawsuit that involves Tom and Ariana being sued by Rachel or Raquel or whatever she's currently going by. So she is claiming, she is looking for damages based on revenge porn and also eavesdropping, invasion of privacy, and inflicting emotional distress. That is her lawsuit against Ariana and Tom. By revenge porn, she's talking about that video of herself that Ariana found. Ariana sent that to herself, but she claims she sent it to no one else. And immediately after it happened, the whole cast and crew and everyone involved got slapped with a very stern warning from Rachella's attorney, stating that if that was passed around in any way, shape, or form, that they would be, facing the fullest extent of the law. So that did not go public. And, that's exactly why we haven't seen it. So now she's also backing, she's doubling down on that and saying that the whole entire Scandival in its own right was a fabrication, and that Tom and Ariana were in on it all along. And I mean, it is just these salacious allegations that are really, to me, just an obvious display of the fact that she is desperate to stay relevant and try and milk a few more minutes of fame, because I mean, the girl's got to be running out of money, right? I mean, this is a money grab. That's all this is. This is so absolutely unethical that she is doing this. And it's disgusting. Hello, hey, Rachel, your character's showing again. It's just disgusting. Everybody knows I'm not a big fan of Ariana, but in no way does she deserve this. This is some cheap ass bullshit. And Rachel should be honestly ashamed of herself. I actually listened to a little bit of her podcast, and she uses the term mental health a lot. I mean, she talks about it nonstop. Mental health. Oh, they did this. This was so bad. They didn't think about my mental health. Oh, this is so bad. I can't believe they did this without any consideration for my mental health. How about the fact that you're sitting here marinating your mind in all of that time? You're sitting here every day going over scenes and scenarios and situations that happened on the show and reliving it. And that's good for your mental health. That is like the absolute opposite. Like if she was diving into something like, using that platform as a springboard to look at it, just look at the bigger picture of it. Look at, there's other ways that she could have parlayed this into something, but she's not. She's like a pig in shit. Oh my God. And then he did this, and it's all just still the blame game and her taking no accountability, and it's gross. And now she's even trying to throw James in it, and she's trying to vilify James and Lisa for something that he did, I don't know, 5 years ago, or I don't know, he pushed Kristen into a bush or something. But it's just funny to me how she's wanting us all to forget about what she did, but remember what James did, however many years ago. James has done a whole lot of growing since then. We have, given this latest display of hers, we have not seen any growth from her. She is hard for me to take seriously. I'm sorry, but I just cannot. Okay, now we are moving over to Vanderpump Rules adjacent. Jax and Brittany are apparently splitting up. So when this news first came out, all the talk was that it was just, myself included, I said this is just to drum up ratings. However, I did back it up with, I can absolutely see them doing this just to drum up ratings, but I can also, on the other hand, see Jax getting all jaxed up. You know what I mean? Now that he has another show, I can absolutely see him just reverting back to his same old, pinhead self, especially now that he, now in his mind, he's the what is he, the most popular guy in the group, or the number one guy in the group, or whatever the hell he said. So now he is definitely the number one guy in the group on his new show. So I could really easily see him slipping his dick slippers back on. And then just yesterday, Brittany, she dropped the Jax's last name from all of her social media. And I mean, I don't know. That could still just be them upping the ante. I don't know. We will see. We will see how that shakes out. And then there is the Miley Cyrus family situation. So a few years back, Billy Ray and Tish got divorced. And when they got divorced, it seemed like there was a bit of a fracture in the family. Some of the kids, went towards their dad. Some of them went towards their mom. Miley gravitated towards her mother. Noah, the younger sister, went the other way towards Billy Ray. And then just, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something, maybe it hasn't even been that long, Tish got married to Dominic Purcell, the actor from Prison Break. And then it was strange because her whole family wasn't there to support her. Miley threw the wedding, but Noah, her other daughter, wasn't there. And, everyone was sniffing around like, that's weird, but, whatever. We thought it was just the division in the family. Well, now come to find out, and also it seems like there's more to this than maybe just a rumor, because Miley has kind of low-key, acknowledged this. But now come to find out, part of the reason for the division between Tish and her daughter Noah is because Noah used to get down with Dominic. And I don't know what exactly they were to each other, but they were something. And honestly, I mean, how gross is that? So let me just tell you. So Dominic was born in 1970, which makes him 2 years older than myself. And Noah Miley's little sister was born in the year 2000. So 30 years, folks. I mean, how gross is that? And also, though, I mean, firstly, I know her to be a troubled girl. My daughter has had some interactions with her, and she, from what I deduced, seemed very troubled. This was probably 7-8 years ago, but she was troubled then. And so it seems, I don't know what kind of a girl would be dating a guy 30 years her senior. I mean, if she's 24 now, she was probably dating him when she was, 21? So she's 21 and he's 51? Please. Sick. And also, sick on her side and sick on his side. And now he married her mother. Ugh. No, thank you. So let's move on to a lighter note. On a much lighter note, sweet little Lala is pregnant. Apparently, she has been keeping this secret since just before Christmas, and I am so thrilled for her. She did an IUI, and apparently she got a positive pregnancy test on her first try. So little Ocean is going to be a big sister. She's going to have her very own little minnow, I guess. I wonder if Lala's going to stick to the whole ocean theme name. Like, I wonder what are some other, that's kind of cool. Is minnow? Minnow's not cool, but I like to call it. That's my little minnow. That's kind of cute. I mean, what else do you have? A wave. You could be a wave. A wade. You wade in the ocean. You ride a wave. A dune. A dune is like the ocean, right? It's like sand ocean. And then you could do like Poseidon, the king or the god of the ocean. And how do you say it? How do you say ocean in Hawaiian? Kai. That's how you say it. Kai. And I love that name. I like that. Ocean and Kai. Kai is an awesome name. And it's solid. It's unisex. I love that. She can use it whether it's a boy or a girl. Lala, are you listening? Kai. I'm into it. Okay, so anyway, let's give Lala a very official congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. Okay, everybody, we need to take a quick break, but stay tuned because when we come back, we're going to talk about Heather Gay, Oprah, and the Leah McSweeney of it all. Okay, everybody, we are back and moving on to Miss Salt Lake City herself. Miss Heather Gay was recently on Nightline and told the truth for once, which is that her rapidly changing appearance is the result of a semaglutide. Heather goes on to say that the body positivity that she practiced for so long and tried to pass along to her own daughters is a lie, and that it's better to not be overweight. And let's face it, it is better to not be overweight for the sake of your health more than anything. For your blood pressure, for your cholesterol, for your blood sugar, for your diabetes, your vitality, your energy levels. Not being overweight allows your body to run the right way. It's meant to run the way that we're meant to run. Or in Oprah's case, walk. Because have you seen the way Oprah is strutting these days? I know that Oprah has been in a super good, positive, mentally healthy, peaceful place for years, but it's different now. Something is hitting differently. The Queen of Queens is slaying every fucking step. And just exuding a whole new energy that you just cannot even begin to look away from. And she is finally sharing her truth too, that she, just like Heather, is on the semaglutide. And she's been on it for a while, and that is exactly why she has stepped down from being the spokesperson for Weight Watchers, which I think was only the ethical thing for her to do. Oprah thinks that these weight loss drugs are incredible, and you can really honestly tell that she does by the spring in her step alone. And so she's taken all of the stocks that she had in Weight Watchers, and she has officially donated them to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And honestly, I could not be happier for her. Cheers to Oprah. I mean, I love the fact that she can finally experience life feeling like the person she's always known she was inside. I love that for her. Okay, guys, now we are moving on to the Leah McSweeney of it all. And I am sorry, but this girl is just desperado. She is like literally like a toddler throwing a tantrum right now, and it is embarrassing. And it's just because she didn't get what she wanted. I mean, that's really all it comes down to, just like a toddler. And what she wanted, just to be clear, was to be a housewife again. I mean, she said it herself just a few months ago. A reporter just recently asked her if she would do Housewives again. And Leah said, hold on, let me read this so I don't get this wrong. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, only because my last season was so bad with COVID and everything. I'd absolutely do it again. But once they announced the names of the new cast and canceled Legacy, everything changed. And now, suddenly, Andy Cohen is a big cokehead that shares his straws with all of his favorite housewives. I mean, for the love of fucking... This is ridiculous, honestly. I mean, and I'm just going to say this. Even if you want to go out on a limb and say, even if this wasn't true... and even if this was true, I mean, and he did offer certain people certain things, sorry, but big fucking deal. And secondly, big fucking deal. I mean, what does that matter to her? He's Mr. Bravo Clubhouse, the reunion wrangler, a gay party prince, not the Pope or the president or a brain surgeon. So can we please stop with the fucking fake outrage? Enough already. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't be quite so pissed if Andy had offered her coke. Oh, my co-star's awake again. Because if he'd offered her coke, then that would mean that she was one of his favorites. And she would then be on a show. And, then she'd be making money. And the fact of the matter is she's so, worked up right now because she's going broke. Her Bravo account has dried up. And so now she's trying to sue them for not helping her stay sober. But mind you, when this girl was on the Tamron Hall show with her mom a few years back, she said, and I quote, "The show was really great for me. The show was really great for me. It got me to see my behavior and thus become sober. Which obviously flies in the face of what she's saying now that she's broke. Now that she's broke, the show wasn't, and once again, let's quote, supportive of me being sober. They wanted me to be drunk, and when I stopped being a drunk, they didn't hire me back. But hello, that is complete bullshit because they did hire her back for Ultimate Girls Trip, but she got sick and went to the hospital. But to be honest, even before she got sick and went to the hospital, she still sucked. She's just boring, and she just doesn't have good energy. Bottom line, doesn't matter if she's drinking or not. She does not have good energy. And to be quite frank, if this Leah was the Leah that those producers first met, she would have never been cast to begin with because no producer in their right mind would ever cast a bump on a log. That's exactly what she is. And that's just not the way it works. And I really hope that this lawsuit gets thrown out like those Married to the Mob sweats that were financed by the lawsuit that she filed years ago against the NYPD. That's right. Leah's first lump sum came from a lawsuit she filed against the New York Police Department. And if you didn't know, now you know. Okay, everybody, that is it for us today. I am so grateful that I got to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please give us a 5-star rating and a follow. We would love that. It really helps. Tell your friends, spread the word. Feel free to leave a comment. You can find me on TikTok at This Is Jenerally Speaking, on IG at The Jennifer Snook. And if you want to submit a question like I mentioned earlier or connect, you can email me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. This has been so much fun. I hope you have a great week. And until we can be together again, stay rooted in love. All right, everybody, take care.